Hello, Kim.
Hi, Jean.
Hello, everyone. I am Jean Yao, a biomedical researcher and a health coach.
Kim Fox, registered dietitian, and I specialize in functional medicine and nutrition.
This month, we will start to talk about questions and reasons related with weight control. Why do I still have trouble controlling my weight in spite of trying many things? There are several questions here for you to answer, Kim.
Oh, good.
Okay, are you ready?
I hope so.
Yeah, okay. The first question, why can't I lose weight? This might be the most common question asked by many people, especially middle-aged ladies.
Yeah, well, I would say that there are really a lot of factors when there comes to weight loss, especially when we're kind of dealing with, what I heard somebody term as, that's middle tire or the battle of the bulge. And in truth, what we have been telling people for years is, well, you just got to eat less and you have to exercise more. And, fortunately or unfortunately, for some people, this definitely can be the case. But I would say in the majority of instances, it goes far beyond, those types of recommendations. So there's a lot more that's behind the scenes or behind the story. We have to dig much deeper.
Next question.
Okay.
Why am I not losing fat when I exercise and diet? I think this is very, very common. Very common.
Yeah. So first of all, you could be doing the wrong type of exercise for your body. And so a lot of times what I see is that people tend to engage in only one type of physical activity. So it might be, oh, I really like doing, running, or I like just doing swimming or just walking. So people tend to do only one type of physical activity. I'd say, especially as we get older, oftentimes what I feel is missing from a person's routine is that they are not doing any kind of strength or resistance training. And why this is important is, again, we have to be thinking about our bone strength, especially as we get older. And when it comes to weight loss, for about every pound of muscle that the body has, we are burning about 6.5 calories per pound of muscle.
Whereas, that's a lot.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean, kind of depends on how much muscle mass you have. But when you think about it, then for every pound of fat that a person has, we're really only burning 1.2 calories per hour. So that's another reason why the more muscle mass that we have, or lean tissue would be another way to look at it, the more calories, we become a more efficient calorie burning machine. So that's one reason. I think another factor for today, even though we might be exercising, we might be eating less, but I think stress is another huge factor behind this. And much of this too, and we've talked about this before, is that main stress hormone called cortisol. And that is the hormone that is produced and is needed when we're trying to flee from danger. And unfortunately, as society becomes more fast-paced and as more as expected out of us to be, doing more in less time, we're producing more cortisol. And so the longer and the higher amounts of cortisol we are producing, this is putting our body into survival mode. And what that is causing is a greater production of fat cells. The more fat cells we have, the more that's slowing down our metabolism because the body is trying to hold on to that energy source for future use. So when the body has to make a choice from, do I keep the body functioning and doing everything it's supposed to do, or should I flee from this danger? The body is always going to pick, getting rid or fleeing or getting away from that source of danger. And so all that extra fat now that we have been producing gets stored in the belly. And that's the worst place for us to be able to store that. So to me, I would say those are probably the top two answers. I would say, even though we are, working on our food and our activity, to me, those are probably the top two reasons.
Yeah. So when you want to get weight loss, don't put too much stress on yourself. If you put too much stress on yourself, and your body will tell you, oh, no, I'm under pressure. I'm not going to do anything. I just want to keep fat on the body. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good way to put on. Again, it's, the body doesn't, well, I don't know what your other questions are, but absolutely. And even doing excessive amounts of stress excessive amounts of or over exercising. So if a person is involved in hours of physical activity a day, that's looked at as stress on the body, and that can reduce immune system. That could even produce some of this cortisol. So that could be some of those factors as well.
So over exercise is also kind of a stress for the body. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people said, oh, okay, I'm going to start to get weight loss, and then I'm going to do the exercise a lot and also eat less. So if they work that way, that really doesn't help to lose weight, right?
It can really, I think, inhibit it in a lot of times, especially then as we're getting older and, are dealing with other things. So the body is a very complex, system. So.
Okay, let's go to the next question. So why am I not losing weight even though I have a calorie deficit?
Yeah.
So this is I think that's a very good question, because I also tried this. I one time, I was counting my calories, and then I don't lose weight. So it's really, there should be some other factors related with this. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, this whole concept of calorie counting, it can be good for some and really not so good for others. Oftentimes, or I think what we do is, well, and that's just part of, as we get older, unfortunately, our body's metabolism does start to slow down, with every decade. And along with that is also bringing some of these hormonal changes and shifts. So what happens, or when we think about our metabolism, that's really the process of our oxygen and calorie intake and how our body is utilizing things for heat, for energy, for, storage. And so when people are losing weight, what often happens is that that's also reducing or slowing down that metabolic rate or their metabolism. And that is because the body senses that food may be scarce, and therefore it's going to start adapting, because it still has to carry on those everyday functions of life. It still has to keep your brain going. It still has to keep your heart moving. It still has to process calories and keep your thyroid and all these processes of your body. But now it's having to do all those everyday or moment by moment functions, but now it has to do it with less energy, with less nutrition, less food. So sometimes you are restricting those calories so much, and the body's just holding on to every little morsel it can. So I have found in some of my clients, I've had to actually increase their calories in order to get their metabolism running again. The body sees, oh, hey, food is no longer scarce. So now we've got more energy to keep everything running, and, we can speed things up again. So I used to do metabolism testing on individuals, and to me, it was fascinating because every body, is different. And so for some people, yes, they did need 1,000 calories to lose weight. I had other women, I did predominantly women, but I had some women that needed 2,200 or 2,400 calories to lose weight. And had I not done that testing, I would have just calculated something out and figured, well, let's start here. But again, as we said, it's how is the body using oxygen and how is it using it for heat and storage, because everybody's body is so complex. So it's a pretty complex process.
Yeah, for someone, it's really this a kind of big issue.
Yeah.
I think if someone gets issue like this, they should test this metabolism rate. Otherwise, they just have no clue, just still wandering around.
Yeah, it's so I found I don't do it any longer. But I know there's places the YMCA's, some of those used to. I mean, I think some of the bigger fitness centers do those, but you know, those can really give you some information. I found some people weren't losing weight because they were actually eating the amount of calories that were more at their maintenance level. So, you know, and sometimes I find out we need to change things up with a person's body. So it might be, okay, let's reduce the amount of carbohydrates you're eating and up your protein. Maybe let's cut your calories for a few weeks and then let's increase them for a few weeks. Maybe you need to change up your physical activity. So there's a lot of different things we can kind of do to try to somewhat tweak the metabolism that can sometimes get things jump started.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next question. Why is my weight stuck?
Yeah. Again, I'd say it's probably more of those metabolism shifts that are occurring because the body is adjusting to a lower calorie intake or nutrient distribution. So I had it explained to me once where you start losing weight, you're reducing and your levels come down, okay, your weight drops down, but now your metabolism needs to catch up. And then that might be where things start, you know, kind of in balance. And then you have to start shifting things up. And for some people, it could be, you know, maybe they'll see these shifts that are happening within a couple of weeks. For some, it might be a couple of months. Okay. So then they make a change and then, you know, their calorie intake lowers. I got to keep moving my hands up. And then the metabolism has to kind of catch up. So it can kind of go in that fashion, but genetics can be another thing. So, you know, really, you know, what do your parents look like? What your siblings look like? Your grandparents, your, you know, your aunts and your uncles. So if everybody tends to be more of that stockier Russian Germanic, you know, kind of body structure, okay, and their average weight for the women is 180 pounds and large bone, but you know, you want to be 120 pounds, it's probably not going to work that way. So
you need to be realistic, huh?
Yeah. So genetically, your weight could be where your body wants to be at. And then, you know, that's a whole different conversation. So then it's looking at too, then, well, instead of just focusing on weight or numbers on a scale, let's focus on health. You know, just because you're even, you know, 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight doesn't mean that you aren't necessarily healthy. You can also be, you know, at a normal weight or appear thin and be very unhealthy. So, you know, maybe taking the focus off weight and, you know, work on things so that you're feeling good about yourself and getting other health issues in order. So, you know, again, genetics, metabolism could be something. Switching things up might get that weight unstuck.
Okay, many factors need to be considered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here is our last question. How long does it take to see results from exercise and diet? If I want to lose weight, how long I can expect to see the result?
Oh, yeah, I always love those diet ads that say, oh, lose 10 pounds in, you know, 1 week or so many days. And, you know, I don't promise those kinds of results to my clients. Much of that initial, say, 10-pound weight loss is going to be water weight. So yeah, oftentimes the first 5 to 10 pounds, if you're first starting out, can come out pretty easy. You know, because you're maybe reducing that carbohydrate intake or sugar intake. And yeah, so you are losing, you're shifting some of that weight, that water weight, as I said. Now the tough part comes. Now it's where we have to start actually working on the fat. And that's when people start getting frustrated. So, you know, again, I think that really depends on a lot of things. I really, up until maybe the last 10 years, I never struggled with my weight. Part of that was genetics, but I could, I did always exercise. But, if I gained some weight, okay, I could just maybe, cut back a little bit here, maybe exercise a little bit more there. I never had any problems. But then from kind of going through premenopause on, and then that whole body change is what really shifted. So the things that had always worked for me for the past 30 years, didn't. So now I'm in this different stage where I'm trying to find different things that work for me and figure that out. So, it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah, your hormones are resetting. Are resetting.
Yeah, I wish I could say, oh, it's in 2 weeks. For some people, like I said, it used to be I could exercise and I could start, or I'd lift weights and I could start seeing, oh, my biceps are starting to grow, in 2 to 4 weeks. It's just not like that anymore. Yeah. So, and it's different for everybody. But the key again is focus on health, not so much on weight. Okay. So we still want to be focusing on, instead of getting to a specific weight where we may or may not be healthy. But, I still keep doing these things and forging ahead, maybe not to get my weight at a specific number, but to try to get my health in the best it can be, so I can live happy and energetically and comfortably for the next, 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, I think so. I think different people, they may have a different healthy weight. Mm-hmm. So some people maybe, need to maintain those lean body as a healthy weight. Somebody, maybe kind of middle size. So it's really not everyone need to pursue that very lean body, right?
Right. Yeah. And again, men and women are built totally different. So yeah.
Okay.
Is that it, or we got more?
Yeah, those are all 5 questions I want to ask you today.
Okay.
So these are just a few of the why questions when it comes to the difficulty in losing weight. And there are certainly others. I see the reasons here. So here are a few reasons in general that could be affecting your efforts, which we will go into further detail in the weeks to come. So nutrition, exercise, sleep, mindset, we will talk about those one by one in next our demo chat. So here, those are the resources we used for today. So next time, please join us next Thursday when we look at the foods and the nutrient imbalances and their relationship to weight loss. That will be the part 2 of why do I still have trouble controlling my weight in spite of trying many things. So thank you very much, Kim.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. So, okay, until then, thank you, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. See you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye.